G'day Reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. So with most of our clients with large marine tanks, doing a water change is a relatively easy job of pumping water from a water storage container on the back of a trailer into their tank. But when someone lives on the top floor of an apartment building, it's a little bit more of a challenge. And how we go about doing a water change in a big marine tank on the top floor of an apartment is what we're about to show you. So this morning we've prepped the ute with all the items that we need for the water change. We've got a hand trolley, and we've got quite a large number of these 20-litre drums, all with salt water in them. We've got our hoses, our buckets, everything that we need to do this job. So we've got the first lot of drums up. We've got a heap more drums that we're going to bring up in a minute. But first, we'll just have a look at the tank. So it's an SPS dominated tank. You can see lots of Aquapora, bird's nest, there's some Monty, Leptocirrus. It's an absolutely beautiful tank. There's only a real minimal number of fish in this tank. Some Anthias, there's a rabbit fish to help with the algae. So this tank is lit with 3 Hydro 52 hyperdrives, doing a wonderful job, giving great spread. The corals are loving it. Underneath in the cabinet, this beautiful 2-pack cabinet, we've got a Nios Quantum 220. There's a Phospan reactor. There's a refugium, needs a bit of a clean. The return pump for this system is an L1. Now the L1 feeds, we've got another reactor over here, and it also feeds through to the chiller, which is on the other side of the wall. So we've got the dosing pump, there's a Gaia and an MP40, so this is the controller for the MP40. And it's hooked up to a battery backup, so if there is a short-term power outage, the tank is covered. We've got a Twins osmolator. You can see the controller for the auto top-up osmolator up there. This is where must be the carbonate, the buffer is going into the tank. We'll pull that off. That's a serious stalactite or stalagmite. And that's the auto top-up reservoir. Okay, I'm gonna get some more drums. Okay, we've now got all our water upstairs, so it's time to do the water change. We'll start by taking off the pelmet. Put this out of the way over here. And as always, we're going to start with some water tests. So before we start the service, we're going to turn off a few of the components of the tank. We're going to turn off the auto top up, which I know is this one here. That's so that when we start to drain water and the sump level goes down, the auto top up doesn't try and fill the sump. We're also going to turn off the wave makers. So we've got MP40 and the Gaia. We're also going to turn off the skimmer, which is this one here. Importantly, as you can see, the skimmer has a fairly large amount of waste in it. We don't want the skimmer to overflow whilst we're doing the service, dumping all of this waste. Next, well, there's another wave maker to turn off. So I think that's everything we need to turn off here. In the other room, we're going to turn off the chiller and the UV sterilizer. So let's do that. The chiller is external from the cabinet, and in summer this door is left open so that the chiller can ventilate as much as it needs to. And so we're going to turn that off. There isn't any water going through the chiller at the moment, and it's not ideal to leave the chiller turned on without water flowing through it. The same is also true with the UV sterilizer. The bulb inside the UV sterilizer can heat up, and if it is left turned on with flow through it, then without flow, then you'll have the problem that that heating bulb can actually burn out. So I'm going to turn off the UV sterilizer back there. So now everything's off and we can start the service. Okay, so I'm going to do a gravel vac on this tank. There's a few patches of algae which I want to clear up. Now there's two ways to start a gravel siphon. The first is my favourite way, which is just to give a short, hard suck, like so, into our pre-dirtied bucket. But the second way to start a gravel siphon is to put the whole siphon under the water, let it fill with water, and then you raise the end up, watching the water start to drain down the siphon, then quickly put the whole thing underwater again, and you'll see that has also started the siphon. So if you're scared to suck on a tube, that's the way for you. So now we've finished draining the tank. We're going to take it down to about here. There's also some water that we've drained from the sump, and we haven't started the algae yet. But because we have some corals out of the water, I'm just going to start to fill the tank back up again, just to get them under the water, and then we can take our time doing the algae clean. So we're using the water that we carried up in the drums. Each drum holds 20 litres. And what I'm doing is I'm going to put the drum in a position that it will now fill the bucket. And because this 20 litres is a little bit more than is comfortable, I'm going to split that 20 litres into 2 buckets to then tip into the tank. So now we've filled the tank to the point that the majority of the corals are under the water. We can start with the algae clean. I'm using 3 pieces of equipment. First of all, my favorite razor holder. I'm going to use that for the coralline algae. It's the easiest way for sure. We're also going to use a continuum scraper, a long handled, and I'm going to use that for just along the edge at the base of the tank, just so I can get right in bits of algae like this. As you can see, this is a perfect tool for. And then I'm going to use a scouring pad. Being white, it's easy to find the algae and get every little bit off, so it's a perfect job. Next job we'll have to do is finish filling up the tank. We'll put the hood back on, we'll clean the glass, and it'll be job done. So that's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe as well. We'll be putting out videos every week showing a new tank with new products. There's going to be lots in all the videos. I'm Cam the Fish Guy, and keep on reefing.